I guess freedom on the pitch is one thing, and freedom off the pitch is another. And I'm really interested in these differences in cultures and playing in different countries. Do you guys in France have more freedom just to make your own decisions and be yourself, and I guess be a bit more grown up and accountable for what you do on your own when you're away from the training ground or the playing field?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, over here, it's kind of like when you turn up to training, you're there, you're 100%. But then when you're off, even if it's having lunch, you can have a laugh and a joke with everyone, and the coaches will do that as well, and the management. So it's very much kind of switch on, switch off, and like and I trust that the players are going to be able to do that. So once the game's finished on a Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is, you've got your time after the game, and then come Monday morning, you've got to be, or whenever you're next back in Monday morning or afternoon, you've got to be ready to go again. So I suppose there's more trust in the players to do what they need to do, whether that's, I don't know, going for a 5k walk the next day to flush the legs, or just to chill out and do whatever. It's kind of, I think it's sort of individual, and the players kind of have responsibility to have to look after themselves, knowing that they've got a week's training ahead of them in a game. And especially over here, it's I'll play more games here than I did back in Glasgow, so I've got to kind of look after myself and make sure I'm doing whatever I need to do. Sometimes that might be doing absolutely nothing and taking it easy during the week at training to make sure I'm ready for the game. But other weeks, if I feel good, I feel like this is a week I can kind of push myself a little bit and try and get a good week's training. So it's kind of, for me anyway, it's been, you're in a team and you get your programme sent out, or you get your programmes per day for the gym and training and everything. But it's been more individual, doing what I need to do and keeping on top of any little niggles you've got and things, just because it's a long season and you'll play game after game after game over here.
Because one of the discussions I remember Will and I had on the podcast, when your story broke on the eve of the Six Nations, that you'd left camp, was that thought of, our players mollycoddled too much in the modern era? Are there too many rules and regulations about what players can get up to when they're not, at the training ground or playing the game on game day? And do you think players need to be grown up enough just to make their own decisions? And if you want to have a beer or two on a Sunday night, a week out from a Six Nations game, then you should be allowed to?
I mean, I think it's individual. There are obviously, I suppose, team rules and things, and you've got to abide by them. But I suppose, like I said over here, when you're outside training, when you've got time off, then there's got to be some trust in the players that they can do what they need to do to then be ready for whatever's coming the next day, and in the week or couple of weeks build up to whatever they've got going on. And I think it's different for everyone. If you're married with kids, then what you do in your spare time is going to be different to what some of the younger guys who are single want to do to get up and want to do to switch off from rugby, knowing that when they come back on the Monday they'll be fresh and ready to go. And for me, on my body, I don't find it too tough. Probably with the position I play, I don't find it too tough after a game. Usually 2 days later, I'm okay. It's more the, something that can be the mental side, whether it's you've played 10, 12 games in a row, and I'll train most days and I'll watch a couple of hours of footage each day. So when it comes to after the game, I like to switch off and get away from rugby. Which is, for me, it keeps it fresh. It keeps it, it keeps me ready to go every Monday when I come back in. So I think it's individual what players do to get away to then refresh themselves for rugby, and that's very individual. So it's something, I think there's got to be trust put in the players, and if the players mess up, then they've got to be held accountable. If they don't turn up, or they turn back up to training and they're injured or something like that, they've not taken the right procedure to get themselves okay or ready for it. But I think it's got to be individual, and that's down to the relationship with the the management and the player, or the player and the group, to know how they like to get away, to then get the best from them in that week's build up.
What bothered you most about how that whole situation unfolded, which ultimately led to you leaving the Scotland camp on the eve of the Six Nations?
I don't know. As I said, I suppose it kind of got blown out of proportion a little bit, and the way it maybe got handled didn't portray it the best it could have. Which is, that's how it happens sometimes. I think, looking back now, me and Gregor are chatting. I was looking at some attack clips that we're potentially going to work on for the next time we're back in camp. So I think, although it's, around the Six Nations, there's a lot of hype, obviously. So it's one of these things that it's going to get blown up a little bit. But I think looking back now, it's for me anyway, it's like, yeah, it's done, but we can move on from here, and I'd imagine, that me and Gregor's were actually probably going to work better in the future than what we did before. So although it might not be a positive then for either of us going forward, I'd imagine it'll be better for us going forward, and then hopefully for the whole group going forward, it's going to be better.
I don't want to be like Columbo, like that 1970s detective who just goes, just one more thing on that instant, like, because I know you say it's all been blown out of proportion. So I'm a teacher, and I love detail, and it's the way I play. And so without therefore necessarily raking up old muck. In 30 seconds, can you actually tell us what did happen, what rules were broken, and what led to you actually walking out of camp that then became this massive story? What was the actual version of events that took place in your mind?
I think it's everything got put in that one Sunday night when I left camp to go back to my parents' house, as I feel I just needed to get away from everything. I think I played 13 games in a row. I just played Saracens that day. We got beaten. It was a huge European game. I flew straight up to camp. I didn't have any training the next day, or 2 weeks till the next game I had. So there's a lot, for me, there's a lot of emotions probably going on. And I think the whole me leaving camp was probably me just trying to get away from it, just to switch off for a bit. But it wasn't just a one day kind of thing. There'd also been I don't know, there'd been some sort of emotions and things going on there before. So I guess I think it got blown out of proportion because I went back to my parents' house to get away from it all and just to forget about it, and then I don't know. So it's in terms of what happened, I don't know. It's just I don't know. One thing happened to the next. Yeah. And when I went back to my parents, that was kind of it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you're watching The Last Dance. Me and Rupert have been watching it with our kids and loving The Last Dance. So there's the Scottie Pippen version where he doesn't get off the bench, and therefore he comes back and he becomes this great player, but he'll always be remembered for that. Then there's the Dennis Rodman version, which says, actually, I've got to send you to Vegas for 48 hours. I mean, it ends up being 96 hours. So are you looking at this now in 10 years' time? Are you Rodman or Pippen? Which what are you? Do you need the release? Do you need a clause in the team rules to say, you know what? Are you asking for an exception to the teamship rules, or are you asking for the team to come up with better rules?
No, I'm not asking for an exception. I'm more than happy to go along with the rules. I think there weren't really any rules then, but I think everyone needs to have a say, and it needs to be a team rules rather than a couple of players deciding what's happening. I suppose, like I was saying earlier, it depends on everyone's situation, Someone might be going through things outside of rugby that they actually need, right, you're struggling with something, just take a couple of days off, do that, or, you're just coming back from an injury, you need to be fully focused and ready to go. Or like I was saying there, I just played 13 games in a bounce, come off the back of 2 big European games. I'm not saying that's because a lot of boys might have done that, but then I suppose it's down to knowing the players, knowing how to manage them and how to get on with them and whatnot. So it's I think it's all individual. But you've obviously got, you've got times you have to, you can't turn up late for a meeting or late for training or anything like that. But I think outside of the training, everyone does have to be treated differently, but under an umbrella of team kind of guidelines.
Can I ask one more tough question? Because I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable on this podcast about some of the questions I'm asking, but I was watching it and I sort of watched it unfold, and I'd played with a lot of players who just needed a little bit more time, and I was different and I liked rules, and that's just the way I am. And the thing that got me, that I thought, whoa, Finn, what have you done here, was the Sunday newspaper article you did with the photo with a massive designer label on, looking like you're Kanye, with a massive grin on your face, talking about it. And I know, don't just look at the picture, read the words. But at that stage in time, the Six Nations was going on, Scotland weren't going great, and you looked like you were lording it like George Best in Paris. So would you take that article back? Would you ask them not to print that photo? Or would you, or what was it you were trying to get across at that stage?
I wouldn't take the article back. The photo maybe changed that, but I mean, the photo doesn't really mean anything. That's just a photo for the article, and I don't know. Now that article was just, I felt like it was me that was getting attacked by everything, whether it's the media or things that were coming out, and if it was me that was getting, everything was coming at me, and I was like, no, I actually need to say my side, how I'm thinking, and what I felt's going on, and I had to say that. So yeah, I wouldn't take that back, and that's just, everyone, like I say, everyone was kind of having a go at me, like, Finn's turned his back, Finn's done this, Finn's done that, it's a late night drinking session, it's this, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. So I was just trying to get my side across. So like you say, about the photo, maybe I'd change that, but in terms of the article, I wouldn't take that back. And I think, maybe going back to the Sunday when I left camp, that's probably, if Gregor and I had probably a better relationship, probably like we have now already, just because we've had this sort of fallout, I feel like I can chat to him openly, and we've got a much better understanding, which is quite funny after a fallout, that you have a better understanding for each other. But potentially if we had this relationship we've got just now, then I would have just chatted to Greg and said, look, I need this or that, or what do you think about that? And it could have been different. So I suppose as it was, the relationship wasn't right, and I suppose a lot of things then happened. So,
do you find it funny? Not funny, that's the wrong word. It's almost strange, because I've watched you and I've played with him, and you're peas in a pod as players in terms of understanding spatial awareness, spacing behind. Oh, he's thrown that pass. Oh, it's perfect, amazing. It's, when you watch Gregor play and watch Finn Russell play, you go, oh no, what have you done? Oh, what an amazing pass. That was brilliant. Just the best move ever. So I just found it strange that it sort of came out that you didn't naturally have an affinity with him until now this has happened. Was there anything behind that? Was it?
I'm not sure. Yeah, like I've worked with Gregor my whole career. That's been like almost 8 years now. But like we both kind of almost realised now, is like we didn't really have that relationship that we probably needed to get the best from each other. And I suppose, like I said earlier, it's during the Six Nations, it's not ideal, obviously, but I think this is almost has brought to light maybe where we need to get better and how we need to work in the future, and the understandings that we need to have with each other. And I think going forward, it'll be better for me and Gregor than in the past, and maybe both of us keeping quiet and just letting things build up. We're actually just chatting about anything, and it's very open now. So, hopefully, and I'd imagine that in the future, that when we're back working together, it'll be a very different relationship, and the way that we actually interact with each other will be very different, which should be quite good, I think. Like I said, he sent me over some stuff to have a watch and what I think, and we're kind of having phone calls for half hour, 40 minutes, just chatting about potential things that we can do when we're back in camp, or even just general things about life. How's lockdown going? The small things that we'd never chat about before. Most weeks I'll speak with Mike over here. How's lockdown going? How's this? How's that? Just blathering away about life and seeing how you are. Same with Toto. I'll chat with him, although it's in French, so it's it's not as long, but it's just that kind of relationship that players, I think, are having to have with coaches nowadays is different. I think you see the different players that are coming into the game. They're from all different types of backgrounds. They're all different personalities. So the way that I've said a few times on other chats, like the way that the modern coach interacts with the players is going to be massive on actually how the performance of the team works. So I think what me and Greg are sort of getting at is just actually getting to know each other and just chatting about things. And I think in the future it'll be a lot better for us.